Moving on swiftly to maandamano and its shenanigans. We've been talking about how we've witnessed state-sponsored goons being used to disrupt people, peaceful protesters during maandamano. Well, it's always in the politicians' playbook, the dirty politics playbook, to divide and rule. But in as much as they are trying to divide and rule, we are coming to realize that our strength is in our unity. But we can never rule out the power of divide and rule. And actually, there was one guy who used to call himself the professor of politics. Was he really the professor of politics? MO1. The master of idiots. Was he really the professor of politics? Because he was only a professor at divide and rule. When multipartyism came back in 1992? Yeah, in 1992. This guy actually divided the opposition. So kura zikagawana between, I think it was Matiba and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. So they split the votes, and Moi ended up winning that election with 36%. So 36% against the 64% that was split among Jaramogi and Matiba. If I'm not, I think it was Matiba that time, but I stand to be corrected. I was not born then, so don't blame if my facts are not right. Don't blame me. So through divide and rule, the master of idiots was able to rule Kenya with an iron fist for 24 years. Well, he is someone's sensei. He was someone's master. That man is in power. Kasongo cannot be allowed to do the same. And I'm actually proud of what Rigiji has been doing politically, trying to lock him out everywhere. I really hope that he won't divide the opposition in any way. The more united we are, the easier it is for us to kick him out. But the moment that these people start dividing us, then we are done and dusted. It's a wrap. It's a wrap like Moi. So we've seen how state-sponsored goons have been coming to the maandamano to disrupt and cause chaos, so that the police can come in and start shooting and say, oh, we were protecting property. Of course, goon number one, Sakaja, has been implicated directly to that. And I was really wondering, how did we get these people in power? Because if they are using goons to try and work together with police, then we are going back to the Mungiki era. And not only Mungiki, we've had quite a number of them in Kenya. Let me remind you. So apart from Mungiki that had dominated the Mount Kenya area and the Nairobi business community, we also had some sects called Sungusungu and Chinkororo in Kisii. Hao magaki walikuwa wanaua watu, wanakula watu mpaka watu wanasema ati wa Kisii wanakulanga watu, lakini sio ati wanakulanga watu, ni Chinkororo or whatever it is. Sounds like such a bad name that were being used. We've also had Miti Chakara and Bogimawe. Then the Kisumu 42 Brothers, the Mombasa Republican Council. All these gangs have always enjoyed the blessing and patronage of some of the powerful politicians, just to do their dirty works, to counter other criminal gangs, to hurt innocent people. So Sakaja is reading from the same book, and during the recent maandamanos, he actually had Swale Sonko. Swale Sonko is a goon alikuanga under Sonko, that's why he's called Swale Sonko. And this other idiot called Gaucho. But at least Kenyans have really shown them that round here hatutaki nonsense. And with that, I actually saw Swale Sonko trying to apologize, saying that if he's wronged anyone, then he's sorry. That was never his intention. He only meant to create content. But we know you guys. And actually, if we cannot read from, if we are not to stop these things, then something worse will happen, because Rigiji had some really serious allegations that he put out against the president and the government in general. So listen to this. This is a part of an article that I drew from the Standard. Was it the Standard or Daily Nation? I believe this is Daily Nation. It says, the opposition led by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said they were armed by... The opposition led by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said that they were alarmed by the emergence of a dangerous and illegal alliance between the police and the goons. What is now clear is that the Kenya-led Haiti multinational security support mission was not a peacekeeping mission, but a benchmarking trip by Ruto on the use of militia to terrorize a nation on taxpayers' money, the opposition leaders claim. Well, those are really serious allegations, because we know Haiti is no longer governable. Why? Because polisi wameshindwa nguvu na the militia. And even forget about these allegations. I would want to believe what Gachagua says, because so far he's given a track record of the so-called truthful men, whether the truths are half-truths or full truths or outright lies. We don't know that. But so far, he's had a track record, a consistent record of showing that it is true. Well, I'd like you to remember, and something I've always been talking about, the Sudan. We should look at Sudan and what is happening there. Janjaweed. Hiyo kitu mnaita RSF. What Hemedi heads there? Ni mungiki fulani inakuanga tu uko Sudan that was taken by Omar al-Bashir to help him exterminate a threat that was in Darfur back in 0203. Then akawachukua akawaongeza as part of the government's military, as a paramilitary, that they are supposed to support the government. But these are goons, and a goon will always be a goon. Watamgeuka, and that's why we are having all these wars in Sudan. Could Ruto be borrowing a leaf from Hemedi? They always say, show me your friends and I'll tell you your character. So, could the president be learning a thing or two from Hemedi? And actually, as we talk about that, we've seen arms, Kenyan arms being found in Sudan that are meant to be used by this Janjaweed, the militia group. And that's why, actually, there's an investigation on why that the UN should investigate on how Kenya is involved in providing ammunition for that militia group, because it's actually said that the weapons that the police are using in Kenya are actually similar to the ones in Sudan. There was a report by the Daily Nation, not the Daily Nation, but NTV. There was a video that they were showing where these ammunitions were found, and they actually had they actually showed that they were meant for Kenya. So how did they get to Sudan? Of course, Gava iliruka hiyo story kama kangaroo, and at the end of the day, we are on ourselves. So, but the good thing about it is that the government will use militia to create an illusion of divide and rule. And apart from that, instill fear. Actually, there was a guy who was forced into admission, one of the goons, who said that actually the instructions were that they were to stab a few women, because if you stab women, it will evoke more emotions as compared to stabbing a man. So stab a few women here and there, still there, And then it will be said, oh, maandamano imekuwa mbaya nini nini blah 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 blah. But then this one thing that these people forget, because the aim of doing that is to instill fear in people. Guys, the fear is gone. At this moment when I sit here behind the camera and just talk like a madman, it's because the fear is gone. I'm not scared anymore. If they were to come for me and kill me, then I'll just be dead. What is the worst that can happen? You can only die once. And actually, that is the spirit with most Gen Zs. When you don't have something to live for, then you can fight to the nail. And because the fear is no longer there, that's why we were able to use the capture and recapture method to seize these goons who were coming to cause disruption in the maandamano. But what is the end goal of this thing? What is the end goal? I feel as a nation, we have one shot at changing this thing. It's not the number of maandamanos that we will go. It's not the number of videos that we will talk about these issues. It will all go down to the ballot. If we don't strike the snake on the head during the election period, then we are done and dusted. We are doomed. We are done forever. There's a song by, it's a Catholic song, Kaunga Yache. It's a Taita song, and says about how sin came to the world and destroyed our relationship with God. And in one of my favorite verses, I'm not really conversant with Kitaita. He says that if you don't strike the snake on the head, then it will come back. It will gain strength, or actually, its helpers or its friends will come and help it. It will gain strength, and then it will come back. So even from me, from the Kamba culture, I've been taught that ukipatana na nyoka, ua. Gonga kichwa, uwe. Because if you don't, it will always come back to bite you. And it will, actually in Kikamba kuna hiyo, tunasemanga, ukipatana na nyoka na ukose kukuua. There is a myth that hiyo nyoka ndio itakuja kukuua. Well, the snake that we are talking about in Kenya, and that we are trying to strike on the head, is actually a few things that have: one, corruption. I would actually call it systematic corruption, impunity, having hooligans in parliament, because it takes a hooligan to call other hooligans to do their dirty work, right? So we have hooligans in parliament, and it's not only in parliament but also in opposition. So the only way we have out, our only way out is striking the serpent's head and elect a fresh crop of leaders. And actually, we have a shot at electing better leaders on account of values, what they've done before, not how much money they are splashing, not how well equipped with Matusi, or they are able to shame the other party. No, it should be about values. And that's why I've always been saying that in as much as we want Kasongo to go, Rigiji ain't an option. Matiang'i ain't an option. Matiang'i was responsible for Yala. We all saw what he did when he had power. Would you try, if Matiang'i alitusumbua hivyo akiwa interior na akikuwa president? How about Rigiji? Don't you remember what he said about maandamano when he was in government? Kasema ati the police are not coming to greet you. I don't remember the exact words he said, but he was supporting the police and he akaongea mbaya sana. So just because now he's in the opposition does not mean that since he's changed course that he's worth trusting. Well, there's always a chance to do the right thing. And good news is that Maraga has announced that he will be vying for presidency. And I personally feel that I will be among the bandwagon that will vehemently, with a lot of energy, campaign for Maraga's presidency, for Omutata's presidency. Because at the end of the day, these are the crop of leaders. We know them. Matiang'i, Rigiji, Kalonzo. It's same old, just replacing shit with shit. What is the difference between Rigiji of the past and Rigiji of now? Just that he doesn't have power. And when he had power, we know what he did. Well, when Maraga announced that he will be vying for presidency, he made a number of promises. That was, I think, yesterday on an interview on NTV. He said that he will work on fighting corruption, restoring the rule of law, and bring an end to impunity and police brutality. That will be his top priority if he is elected as the 6th president of Kenya. And I would really like him to do that. He's actually promised that he's not going to dish out funds, because whoever gives you money, then they've bought your soul. You eat their money, then you've been bought. And even if you've not been bought, this person goes to the position of power with something in mind. Kwanza, kabla ya anything else, I'm going to return my money back. I have to get my money back. How much did Ruto spend during the campaign? And actually feel that the reason as to why Ruto has been pushing issues like Adani, hizi mambo na Sudan, I feel the reason as to why he has to push that, it's because of the kickbacks that he received, because maybe these are some of the people who funded his campaign. And by all means, campaigns are an expensive affair in Kenya, aren't they? So where did you expect him to get his money back? With interest plus profit. So it's not a wonder that he's doing that. So if we are able to elect leaders who have not spent big amounts of money, then they will not have that feeling of, I really need to recoup back my investment, because public service is not about yourself, but it is for others. But if you are out there doing it for others, then sad. It's so sad that at the moment, we can't trust what the government says. That a president can stand in front of people, talk, and you really don't know whether is he talking the truth or not. You don't know when he's saying something that is true or untrue. You doubt. The president gives you his word, and then you can't follow it. I always say that as a man, your word is your bond. How about a president's word? A president's word. When a president issues a directive or says things, if as a man I told you I'll visit you on Saturday, I surely will. And if I don't, then I should tell you prior, because your word is your bond. How about a president's word? Should always be his bond. But right now, we don't trust the government. It's hard to trust the government, because I was actually seeing kamim kalikuwa kanatembea online. It's not a meme actually, it was a question, a social studies. I don't know if it's social studies or CRE. Which is the most safe place to be? At a police station, at a stranger's house. I don't remember the other options. No, the question was actually, which is the most dangerous place to be at? At a police station, at home, at a stranger's place, and I don't remember the other option. But they were asking which is the most dangerous place. And of the 4 options, because it's a primary school question, said kulikuwa na police station. Well, the natural thing to say is that the most safe place for someone would be a police station. But would we really say that? For that teacher who is marking that exam, if a learner said that the police station is the most unsafe place that they would ever be, would you penalize them really? Because ain't that the truth? Ain't that the true state or the true account of events that are happening in Kenya? Because 1 + 1 is always 2. And remember, I told you, even a newborn right now has heard about Albert Ojwang so far. So we are looking forward to restoring trust in our government. and it won't be by electing the same crop of leaders. Kenyans kama tunataka kufikiria, tufikirie. The likes of Maraga, Omtata will be in the ballot. Ruto, Gachagua, and his bandwagon, Kina Matiang'i, will be there. Do you want the same type of leaders, or do you want a fresh crop of leaders that will be able to put some lasting change in the nation? And above all, restore the lost trust. Because, my friend, when trust is broken, then even relationships, you can't make it in any relationship when trust is broken. How can we trust the government when it's working with people, goons? How will you trust the government? Right now, I see someone, nikiona tu Land Rover ya polisi, I'm just scared. Not like I've done something wrong. I'm not scared because I'm on the wrong. But I'm scared. Even if it's not myself, it could be someone else who's in trouble. I really don't trust when the government comes and apprehends someone. When the police come and apprehend someone, could they have done something wrong or right? Actually, it's been proven that in Kenya, you'll be killed for doing the right thing. You'll do something right, like Albert Ojwang tried to expose something wrong. You'll find yourself in jail. Remember the lady who was alitengeneza place ya kuvote about the finance bill? Well, the case has been kicked away. That is something that we are really grateful, and I really hope that she will sue those people for damages. But even as she's suing the government for damages, you are like, her intentions were so clean. She did not have aqua nataka ati aqua na any ill intentions, but because of people who work with impunity, they actually even didn't know what they were charging her for, but they put her behind bars for about, I think it was well over 3 days. Now the case has been dismissed. Upuzi tu. Anyway, always talking about Kenyan's politics, asiranomita itafika 150 kilometers per hour. I just want to stop at this point and really thank you for taking your time to listen to me and always tuning into the Tony's Pod. We promise to always tell the Kenyan story as raw and as interesting as it is. If you really think that this episode made you happy or sparked your thoughts, always feel free to just touch that button down there, like, subscribe, put down some comments, share this link with someone who might need to listen to this, or you feel that you share the same opinion. And above all, remember to stay informed, stay bold, and until next time, just remember to keep questioning, keep caring, be your brother's keeper, and always keep the conversation going.